Welcome to another story made by Oracle One. Since she was little, Lucy had been fascinated by the whispers of the old manor her family moved into last summer. The place was an ancient relic perched on the outskirts of town, haunted by decades of abandonment and secrets too heavy for most to bear. It smelled of damp wood, forgotten memories, and something darker lurking beneath the surface. Lucy was 17, curious and restless, the kind of girl who would rather explore crumbling attics and shadowed basements than scroll mindlessly through her phone. Her parents, busy with their overly demanding jobs, gave her free rein to roam the house all day, usually warning her about the crawlspace beneath the kitchen floorboards. "Don't go there," they said casually, their voices tinged with an unspoken fear. It became a challenge, then, a burning need to discover what was concealed in the cellar's grip. One humid afternoon, when the air was thick with anticipation, Lucy slipped away while her parents were distracted and knelt by the creaky wooden floor. She pried up a loose panel and descended into the narrow crawlspace. It was a tight fit, the walls sweating with moisture and the faint decay of rot. As she crawled deeper, her fingers brushed against a small, leather-bound book lying half-concealed under a pile of dust and broken plaster. The diary's cover was cracked and fragile, its edges stained in dark spots that looked suspiciously like dried blood. Lucy's heart hammered against her ribs as she pulled it into the dim light of her phone screen. The cover bore no name, but inside, in slanting, careful handwriting, the entries began with dates from over 50 years ago. The ink was smudged, but each word was chillingly vivid. The diary belonged to a girl named Eleanor who had once lived in the manor during the 1960s. Her entries chronicled a descent into madness and despair as she described strange noises echoing through the halls, shadow figures lurking just beyond sight, and moments when her reflection in mirrors would twist into something monstrous. Lucy's breath caught when she read the last entry, written on the night Eleanor had disappeared without a trace. The chilling words stopped abruptly. "They're coming. I hear the scratching beneath the floor. I cannot escape. If you find this, beware the crawlspace. It holds more than just shadows." A sudden cold touched Lucy's spine, but her curiosity was a flame that could not be extinguished. She opened a blank page near the back and, on a sudden, reckless impulse, wrote her own name. To her shock, after a few seconds of silence, new words began to appear beneath hers in the same handwriting, her own handwriting, though the ink was a darker shade, as though stained by something sinister. "Do you see me, Lucy? I have waited so long for someone to read my secrets." Lucy's fingers trembled, hovering over the diary. The air around her seemed to tighten, the shadows deepening. The diary had somehow come alive, communicating through the eerie mimicry of her penmanship. Each question she scribbled was met with a responsive, whispered thought bleeding onto the page in that uncanny ink that seemed to pulse. Days turned into nights. Lucy was drawn deeper into dialogue with this possessed book. It told her about the manor's cursed history, how Eleanor had been trapped by a malevolent presence born in the crawlspace, an entity that devoured hope and sanity. The diary described how it rode through those who dared touch it, dragging their souls into an endless darkness. One evening, Lucy found herself writing about her fears in the diary. It responded with unsettling tales of the entity's hunger growing stronger with every word, its tendrils creeping beyond the pages and into the edges of her reality. The playful tick of the old grandfather clock reversed rhythmically, the lights flickered with growing frenzy, and the walls seemed to whisper warnings she could almost understand. The household dogs barked frantically at the crawlspace entrance, their eyes wide with terror. Lucy felt their panic, a raw, primal warning that chilled her to the bone. She noticed scratches on the wooden floorboards near the crawlspace, freshly gouged marks that hadn't been there a day before. Her pulse quickened. She wanted to stop, to abandon the diary and flee the house, but a strange compulsion held her captive. The diary spoke not only in ink but in her dreams at night. She woke drenched in cold sweat, hearing laughter not her own, and the faint scratching beneath her bedroom floor. On the seventh day, the diary wrote a message that was cruelly direct and personal. "You're the next, Lucy. Your words shall feed me, and your mind will join mine." Panic clenched her gut like ice. She tried tearing the pages out, burning them, but the diary resisted every attempt. The flames twisted unnaturally, leaving behind only a puddle of blackened liquid that refused to dry. In desperation, Lucy confided in her best friend, Mark, who was skeptical but alarmed by her frantic warnings. He insisted on helping her destroy the cursed object. Together, they returned to the crawlspace armed with a crowbar, matches, and a will to end the nightmare. As Lucy lifted the floor panel, a noxious breath of cold met them, an unnatural chill that seemed to seep into their bones. The diary lay like an open wound amid broken plaster. But as Lucy reached for it, the shadowy tendrils erupted from beneath, wrapping around her wrist with crushing grip. Her screams echoed through the manor as darkness swallowed her whole. Mark, frozen with helplessness and horror, could only watch as the walls seemed to close in, the floorboards themselves alive as they dragged Lucy down into that unseen abyss beneath the house. The diary's pages fluttered closed by themselves, the last chilling words scrawled in Lucy's trembling handwriting. "Do you see me now?" And in the crawlspace, the shadows whispered eagerly, licking their newfound story, hungry for more words. For more stories, like and subscribe.